the year 2089, Earth had become a shining beacon of technological advancement. Towering skyscrapers and sprawling cities sprawled across the planet's surface, bathed in the glow of renewable energy and cutting-edge innovation. Humanity had conquered its internal divisions, establishing a united world government that championed peace, prosperity, and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. But in the midst of this golden age, there was an eerie blind spot. Earth's military and scientific communities, though capable of defending their planet from any terrestrial threat, were woefully unprepared for the intricacies of galactic politics. Humanity had turned its gaze inward, focused on improving itself, but had failed to notice the vast, swirling complexities of the cosmos beyond. The stars, once a symbol of boundless curiosity, had become little more than distant, uncharted points in the night sky. The planet's best minds had spent years developing weapons, advancing technology, and exploring their own solar system. But when it came to the universe at large, Earth remained a stranger, a lost child in the vastness of space. Captain Elias Munro stood at the bridge of the military command ship, his fingers gripping the railing with a quiet intensity. His eyes were fixed on the holographic display in front of him, but his thoughts were far away. Munro wasn't just a soldier, he was a survivor of the brutal wars that had once ravaged Earth. The scars of those conflicts, both physical and emotional, remained etched in his mind. Faces of comrades lost, the cacophony of battle, the weight of decisions made in the heat of combat. These memories followed him like shadows. The recent news of an alien fleet approaching Earth had stirred something deep within him. The desire for peace, for an end to the violence that had haunted him for so long, but also the cold, undeniable knowledge that war was inevitable. As much as he yearned for a world without bloodshed, Munro knew that to protect humanity, he might be forced to lead them into battle once more. His doubts simmered beneath the surface. Was there another way? Could diplomacy truly work with beings that had the power to wipe out entire civilizations in a blink? But the call of duty was louder than his hesitation. Munro exhaled, steadying himself. "The galaxy may see us as nothing more than insects," he muttered to himself. "But we're humans, and we fight." To the alien races of the galaxy, Earth was nothing more than a distant, insignificant dot in the endless void. Its people, though technologically advanced in comparison to their own world's history, were seen as primitive and unrefined by the standards of interstellar civilizations. Earth had never been part of the galactic community, its inhabitants unaware of the intricate web of alliances, treaties, and power struggles that spanned the stars. Humanity's ignorance was its greatest vulnerability. While Earth's citizens were focused on their own world, fighting internal battles for equality, sustainability, and progress, the universe around them had quietly watched. The Zervath, a race known for their cold efficiency and ruthless execution of justice, had monitored Earth from afar, waiting for the moment to strike. They were content to let the humans stew in their innocence, too blind to the cosmos to ever realize their trespass. Now, as the first sign of galactic attention descended upon Earth, humanity's naivety would cost them dearly. Their only crime, existence. The stars above Earth flickered ominously, and in an instant, a fleet of enormous warships emerged from the darkness, their massive hulls cutting through the void like silent predators. The Zervath had arrived, and they brought with them an ultimatum. The Zervath were a terrifying sight to behold, towering beings clad in black reflective armor, their eyes hidden beneath dark visors. Their bodies were humanoid, but their presence exuded a cold mechanical aura. They were the executioners of the galaxy, beings who saw themselves as the ultimate arbiters of order. Their race was notorious for ruthlessly enforcing the laws of space, ensuring that no one dared to transgress the delicate balance of galactic peace. The Zervath's leader, a towering figure known as Varric, spoke with a voice that chilled the very air. Humanity's trespass has been noted. Your planet, in its primitive arrogance, has violated the laws of the cosmos. Your continued existence threatens the stability of the galaxy. Earth's leaders listened in stunned silence as Varek's voice echoed across the comms, delivering an edict as cold as the void itself. You have no place among us. Your world will be destroyed unless you submit to our judgment. The galaxy's first alien encounter was not one of diplomacy, but of execution. Earth had just made its first real enemy, and the price of their ignorance was steep. The world trembled as Earth's military leaders scrambled to react. Nations rushed to assemble their forces, deploying their most advanced weapons in a desperate bid to protect their planet. Nuclear warheads, energy shields, and plasma cannons, everything that Earth had fought so hard to develop over the years, were aimed at the alien invaders. But the Zervath's response was swift and deadly. With a flicker of their energy shields, they deflected every attack, their technology far beyond anything humanity had ever encountered. The missiles and energy blasts simply bounced off, harmlessly dissipating in the vacuum of space. It was as if Earth's greatest weapons were no more than toys in the hands of the Zervath. The panic on the ground was palpable. Military bases, once brimming with hope and determination, now stood as monuments to humanity's folly. There was no defense, no hope, at least not with the weapons they had. Commander Monroe stood in his war room, his fists clenched. "They've torn through everything we have," he said, his voice low, filled with frustration. "We're facing something we can't even begin to understand." That even as the crushing weight of helplessness threatened to consume him, there was a flicker of something else: determination. Humanity had faced the impossible before, and they had never backed down. "It's not over," Monroe muttered under his breath. "We'll find a way." The world was thrown into chaos when the message came through. A voice, cold and mechanical, echoed across the globe through every communication channel. "Humanity has been judged. You have 24 hours to surrender or face total annihilation." The Zervath, alien executioners known across the galaxy, had made their demands clear. The ultimatum was as sudden as it was terrifying, and it didn't give humanity a single moment to prepare. Every nation on Earth froze in fear as the broadcast repeated, its chilling words sinking into the minds of billions. Panic gripped the planet as governments scrambled to formulate a response. Military leaders gathered in high-security war rooms, their hands trembling as they reviewed their options. Diplomats issued frantic pleas for peace, but the reality was undeniable. The Zervath were not here to negotiate. They were here to destroy. From the streets of New York to the icy plains of Antarctica, confusion spread like wildfire. People could only stare at the skies, waiting for something, anything to happen. But nothing did. The countdown was ticking, and no one knew how to stop it. The silence of space hung over Earth like a dark cloud, and the chilling truth set in humanity's fate was no longer in its hands. The world had always prided itself on its technological advancements, but faced with an enemy that wielded powers beyond comprehension, Earth was helpless. The Zervath had spoken, and humanity had no idea how to fight back. Desperation set in quickly. The UN called an emergency session, and Earth's leaders rallied together, frantically offering terms for peace. But as they poured their hearts out, hoping for some sign of mercy, the Zervath remained silent. For hours, diplomats sent countless messages, pleading for a chance at negotiation. Earth's brightest minds worked around the clock, drafting offers, compromises, and even promises of servitude. They were willing to do anything to beg, to surrender, to admit their helplessness in the face of a superior force. But the Zervath did not respond. Not a single word, not a single acknowledgement. They remained as cold and indifferent as the void between the stars. It was then that Earth's leaders realized something terrifying. They were not dealing with an enemy that sought understanding.
or compassion. The Zervath didn't care about humanity's pleas. They had made their judgment, and they were beyond the reach of diplomacy. Humanity's voice was nothing but a whisper in the vast, indifferent galaxy. Frustration boiled over into panic. The military launched their first offensive strike against the Zervath ships, but the attack was futile, just as their technological might had proven useless against the Zervath's impenetrable shields. Humanity's response was nothing more than a feeble echo, and it became clear. Earth was alone, facing extinction. Just as hope seemed to fade, an unexpected anomaly shifted the tide of fear. Deep beneath the Earth's surface, a signal was detected. It wasn't a random burst of static. It was a pattern, structured, deliberate, and ancient. The signal was cryptic, a series of strange codes and symbols, but there was something unmistakable about it. It was not of Earth's making. The message was intercepted by humanity's most advanced systems, and the data was sent to Dr. Evelyn Carter, a historian and archaeologist with an eccentric fascination for Earth's forgotten past. She had studied ancient civilizations for years, but even she could not comprehend the source of the transmission. The signal is coming from a location deep within the planet, Dr. Carter said, her voice steady, yet laced with both excitement and unease. This is no modern technology. This is older than anything we've ever encountered, older than Earth itself. Monroe, now involved in the effort, stared at the data with growing unease. The signal wasn't just old, it was otherworldly. Something ancient was stirring beneath their feet. But what could it mean? Was it a warning, a message from another species, perhaps more powerful than the Zervath, or something else entirely? As the signal's origins were traced to an underground location in the farthest reaches of the planet, an uneasy sense of awe began to settle. The more they discovered, the more it seemed that humanity's salvation and its doom lay buried beneath the Earth in a place untouched by time. Captain Elias Monroe had never believed in things like ancient powers or forgotten civilizations. He was a soldier, not an archaeologist, but now, his military expertise had been called upon to lead an expedition into the depths of Earth, where Dr. Evelyn Carter's theories pointed to a potential discovery that could save humanity. Monroe had his doubts. He had fought countless battles, seen too much death, and lost too many friends. The idea that something buried deep in the planet's crust could be the key to humanity's survival seemed far-fetched, like a last-ditch hope from those unwilling to accept the inevitable. "Look, I'm no expert in ancient civilizations," Monroe said, his voice tinged with skepticism. "I'm just here to make sure we don't end up dead, like the rest of the world." But Dr. Carter's conviction was contagious. She believed in the signal, in the power beneath their feet. She believed that whatever lay hidden in Earth's depths had the potential to turn the tide. Monroe didn't trust her theory completely, but he trusted her determination. "Let's just hope you're right," Monroe replied, his mind already racing through the possibilities. Was this some form of ancient technology, or something more, something that could change everything? Monroe and Dr. Carter's journey took them to a vast underground cavern, hidden from the world above for centuries. As they ventured deeper into the darkness, they uncovered massive stone structures, imposing and alien in design, frozen in time. The air was thick with dust, and the sense of history in the chamber was overwhelming. "What is this place?" Monroe asked, his voice reverberating off the walls. Dr. Carter's voice trembled as she approached a series of murals that decorated the walls. It's the Eternals, a civilization that predated even recorded human history. They were said to have wielded power unlike anything we've ever imagined. As they ventured deeper into the ruins, they uncovered artifacts, crystal-powered devices that pulsed with an otherworldly energy, and writing in a language that had long been forgotten. They had unearthed the secrets of the Eternals, a race so powerful that even the Zervath had feared them. Monroe's heart raced as he stared at the ancient artifacts. The power that lay dormant beneath their feet could be the key to defeating the Zervath if they could unlock its secrets in time. As he looked at Dr. Carter, he could see the realization dawn in her eyes. They had found something beyond their wildest dreams, but would it be enough? The race against time was just beginning.
Everything burned. Still, one human stood. Why? Because surrender isn't in our blood. These are the stories you've been waiting for. This channel is made for you. If your heart said yes, subscribe.
The sky shatters. Across the globe, the first wave of Shurvas orbital strikes hits with terrifying precision. Cities that once stood as symbols of humanity's might are now nothing more than smoldering ruins. In mere hours, the world is unrecognizable. From New York to Tokyo, Paris to Moscow, Earth's greatest cities disintegrate into firestorms and rubble. The Shurvas, those who have watched from the dark corners of the galaxy, have finally decided that humanity's time has come to an end. Every attempt to retaliate is futile. The Earth's finest military technology, missiles, shields, lasers, are ineffective. The Shurvas' weaponry, advanced beyond human comprehension, slices through Earth's defenses with ease. Entire fleets of fighters and warships are reduced to dust, leaving behind nothing but the echo of explosions and the taste of defeat in the air. In the wake of this devastation, the world goes silent. Governments, fractured by fear, struggle to respond. Their leaders are scattered, their orders meaningless. Panic grips the streets as people realize there's no escape from the storm. The clock is ticking down. The Shurvas' chilling ultimatum echoes in every ear: surrender or face complete annihilation. Humanity's survival instinct awakens, fueled by a fierce, desperate will to fight back. Military forces from every nation unite under a single banner, resist with their backs against the wall. The world's last hope lies in counterattacks, but every move, every strategy is met with overwhelming force. Despite their ingenuity, their courage, and their unwavering resolve, the attacks fail. Earth's greatest pilots, soldiers, and tacticians give their all, but nothing can withstand the power of the Shurvas. Entire fleets are annihilated within minutes, as Shurvas' war machines tear through them without mercy. Earth's most advanced weapons, laser grids, energy shields, are like paper against a cosmic storm. In the aftermath, those who survived the onslaught are left with a crushing realization: the enemy is not just technologically superior, it is untouchable. The realization sinks in deep. Earth stands on the brink of total annihilation, and no one is coming to save them. The last resistance fighters fall back into underground bunkers, readying for an inevitable end, their hopes fading with each passing second. Deep beneath Earth's surface, a different kind of battle unfolds. In a hidden underground ruin, Captain Elias Monroe and Dr. Evelyn Carter make their way through long-forgotten halls. The walls are etched with symbols of a time before human history. As the pair venture deeper into the labyrinth, they discover an ancient chamber, its doors sealed for eons. It hums with an unsettling energy, and Monroe's gut tells him that this is not just a relic, it's something more. The cryptic broadcast they've been following for days leads them here, to this place. The codes, strange, untranslatable patterns, have pointed them to this ancient location. But the moment Monroe places his hand on the ancient console, everything changes. The chamber shudders to life. An energy pulse shoots through the walls, and the air grows colder. There's something hidden here, something older than anything they've ever encountered. Monroe's hand trembles as he activates the chamber, unknowingly unleashing an ancient force that had been sealed away for millennia. The energy in the chamber crackles as the walls quake violently. Monroe stumbles back as a dark presence fills the air, a deep, resonating voice, like the whisper of time itself, rumbles through the chamber. It is time. The ground splits open, revealing an entity, Thanatos, a force of death.
ancient and incomprehensible, not a machine, not an alien, but a presence, a being of darkness, bound to earth since the dawn of time. It had once been worshipped and feared by the ancients, those who lived long before humanity. Monroe feels the weight of the moment press down on him. This is not just some ancient artifact or weapon, it's an entity more powerful than any force he's ever imagined. It stirs from its deep slumber, its power rippling through the atmosphere. The Shirvath, who had believed themselves to be invincible, are about to learn a harsh truth. They are not the only force in the galaxy capable of destruction. Thanatos rises, its shadow stretching across the chamber, an eternal specter of fear and power. The very air itself seems to grow heavy with its presence. The Shirvath launch another brutal assault, this time sending a squadron of executioners to wipe out the last remnants of humanity's resistance. But they have no idea what they're about to face. As the Shirvath descend ready to deliver their final blow, Thanatos manifests. It doesn't fight in the traditional sense. It is beyond such things. With a mere thought, the executioners' weapons fail, their armor shatters, their very bodies are ripped apart by an unseen force. The Shirvath cry out in terror, their superior technology useless against the entity that stands before them. Thanatos hovers over the bodies of the fallen, its form swirling with dark energy. The entity whispers a single word, judgment. The message is clear. The Shirvath have not come to conquer, they've come to be judged. Their arrogance will be their undoing. The universe will no longer allow them to continue their rampage. In a flash, the remaining Shirvath forces are scattered, broken by a power they cannot comprehend. For the first time in their long destructive history, the Shirvath feel fear. The invincible aliens, who have torn through countless civilizations, now find themselves powerless against an enemy they cannot fight. The legend of the Eternals begins to resurface in their minds, and the ancient tales of a force more powerful than them all take on new meaning. Their confidence, once unshakable, falters as they realize they are not the apex predators of the galaxy. They are not alone. Humanity, small, insignificant humanity, has awakened something that even they cannot defeat. The Shirvath are no longer certain of their conquest. The terror that once fueled their rampage now turns inward, and they question everything they've ever known. Humanity, once deemed weak and frail, may be the only force capable of standing against the might of the Shirvath. For the first time, the balance of power in the galaxy has shifted. The Shirvath are no longer the hunters, they are the hunted. The heavens above Earth darken as the first sign of the end begins. Salvarik, a warlord of immense power and tactical genius, has been dispatched by the Shirvath High Command. The universe trembles at the thought of his arrival. His reputation precedes him, unstoppable, unyielding, a force of nature, bound by the will of the Empire. Salvarik stands at the helm of his flagship, the Drakar's Wrath, a ship carved from living metal and charged with the essence of war. His eyes, glowing with an unnatural red hue, scan the planet below, calculating every move with perfect precision. His voice, cold and calculated, echoes through the ship's command room. We will not falter. Earth's resistance ends now. Prepare for the final extermination. He turns to his sub-commanders, a collection of the deadliest soldiers in the galaxy. Ready the fleet. Make sure this planet feels the weight of our power. With a single motion, Salvarik signals the beginning of Earth's final countdown. His warships, colossal and unrelenting, break through the atmosphere. Their engines roar like the call of a beast from the abyss, and in their wake, destruction follows. The skies above Earth are torn apart as Shirvath warships pour down from the heavens. Their weapons, forged in the heart of stars, unleash a devastating fury that rips through Earth's defenses. Cities burn, skyscrapers crumble, and the screams of a dying planet fill the air. Earth's last line of defense, a coalition of nations' militaries, struggle to hold their ground. In the chaos, Captain Elias Monroe watches in disbelief from his command center. His voice cracks under the weight of the moment, but his resolve doesn't waver. Come on, we can't let them win. We can't let them take everything. But even as his forces launch desperate counterattacks, Earth's weapons are nothing against the overwhelming power of the Shearwath warships. Bombs explode, and missiles shatter against the seemingly impenetrable armor of the alien invaders. Monroe looks up as a massive Shearwath cruiser looms above, blocking out the sun. His heart races. The scale of the threat is more than humanity can handle. The warships fall like meteors, their impact causing ripples of terror across Earth's surface. In this moment of desperate chaos, a single voice breaks through the comms, one that carries a spark of hope. We're not done yet, Elias. We've got one more play. In the depths of an ancient underground ruin, Captain Elias Monroe and Dr. Carter stand before an unmarked chamber, a place no human has set foot in for eons. The walls are covered with cryptic symbols that pulse with an eerie light. Monroe feels a sense of foreboding, but Carter is undeterred. We're running out of time, Elias. This could be our last chance to stop them. Monroe hesitates. The signals they've been following have led them here, to this relic of forgotten power. The room hums as if alive. With a deep breath, Monroe steps forward, placing his hand on the center of the chamber. The moment he does, the chamber explodes in a surge of energy. The air grows cold as a voice, deep and ancient, echoes through the ruin. It is the voice of Thanatos, the ancient force bound to Earth, long sealed away by forgotten civilizations. Monroe's mind is flooded with visions of cosmic knowledge. He feels his body change, strengthen, an overwhelming power surging through him. Thanatos, now part of him, merges with his soul. His once human form begins to shimmer with the ancient essence, his eyes glowing with the power of the Eternals. Monroe's heart races, but his mind remains sharp, focused. He now wields the power of an ancient god, and he knows it is humanity's last hope. The battle for Earth rages on, but now, it's different. Thanatos manifests in a towering form, his presence overwhelming the battlefield. His form is spectral, cloaked in shadow, yet his very being pulses with the energy of creation and destruction. In his hand, he wields a scythe made of pure energy, an instrument of death, unlike anything seen before. The Shearwath forces tremble as Thanatos moves through their ranks. His presence is a nightmare come to life. He raises his hand, and with a single motion, entire battalions of Shearwath soldiers are consumed by a wave of energy. Their screams are swallowed by the void as their life forces are drained away in an instant. Salvarik watches from his flagship, his eyes wide with disbelief. The tide has turned. The power of Thanatos is undeniable. Impossible, he mutters. This not how it was supposed to be. The ground shakes, and the sky splits open with energy as Thanatos unleashes his wrath upon the Shearwath invaders. The battlefield becomes a maelstrom of chaos, and the forces of Earth's defenders rally behind the ancient force. The Shearwath's dominance is shattered in a single, terrifying instant. The final confrontation is inevitable. Salvarik descends from his ship, his massive form clad in armor that gleams with the reflections of distant stars. His eyes burn with fury and determination. You cannot win, he growls. I am the unyielding, the conqueror of countless worlds. Monroe, now fused with Thanatos, stands ready, his aura crackling with ancient power. He grips his weapon, an ethereal scythe that hums with deadly energy. The two warriors clash in the heart of the devastated city. Salvarik strikes with brutal precision, his anti-eternal technology repelling some of Monroe's most powerful blows. The earth trembles with each strike, the sky above lighting up with the power of their battle. For a moment, it seems as though Salvarik might win. His cunning and strength make him a formidable opponent, even against the combined might of Monroe and Thanatos. But Monroe's mind, enhanced by the power of Thanatos, holds one final trick. With a surge of energy, Monroe outmaneuvers Salvaric, using his ingenuity, the defining characteristic of humanity. In a swift, calculated move, he delivers the final blow, sending Salvaric to his knees.
They said Earth was small, but when we spoke, the galaxy listened. And now you're here, not late, but right on time. This channel's been waiting for people like you, so don't hold back. Subscribe. This journey belongs to you now.
Salvaric kneels, blood spilling from his wounds. His breath is ragged, but his pride remains unbroken. You should not have won, he gasps. We were wrong. Monroe stands over him, the full force of Thanatos' power surrounding him like a storm. Tell me why, Monroe demands, his voice unwavering. Salvaric's eyes flicker with the last vestiges of defiance before he whispers, Earth was never primitive, it was forbidden. The words echo in the air, sending a chill through the battlefield. As Salvaric falls silent, Monroe looks up to the sky, his mind racing. The implications of the warlord's words are profound. Earth, forbidden. The mysteries of humanity's true origins begin to unfold before him. Humanity has won the battle, but the war for its place in the galaxy is just beginning. The once dominant Shirvath fleet, a monstrous armada capable of obliterating entire civilizations, trembles as it retreats from Earth. No longer the unstoppable force it once was, the fleet now finds itself on the defensive. Their warships, sleek and menacing, drift away from the blue planet, like cowards fleeing an ancient predator they could never understand. The confidence of the Shirvath, built over centuries of crushing the weak, has shattered. The core of their empire, their belief in invincibility, was built on the terror they spread. They had always seen themselves as gods, their ships and weapons, the very hand of fate. But Earth was not what they expected. The humans had shown resilience, defied the odds, and most terrifying of all, had unleashed something far beyond their comprehension. We've lost. We can't win. The voice of an officer aboard the flagship trembles as he watches the Earth's distant glow fade into space. His words hang in the air, heavy with the truth they never thought possible. The galaxy, once a stage for their dominance, is now a place of uncertainty. The Shirvath are no longer the rulers, they are the vanquished. As the fleet retreats, the echoes of their defeat ripple through their empire. Fear is the only thing they know now. Captain Elias Monroe stood at the edge of the battlefield, his body trembling, not from exhaustion, but from the raw, unrelenting power that now surged within him. He was no longer just a man, he was something ancient, something eternal. Dodora, Diprios, Thanatos. The force that had once been a mere whisper in the cosmos was now fully intertwined with his essence. His once human features are now shifting, fading, as his body adapts to the new cosmic power coursing through him. His eyes, once filled with uncertainty, now burn with an inner fire that could scorch entire armies. His heartbeat, if it could still be called a heartbeat, echoes with the rhythm of 1,000 lifetimes. He could feel the presence of Thanatos, his every thought, every emotion, linked with the force of death itself. Monroe was no longer haunted by his past. The guilt, the losses, they were shadows, lost to the vast ocean of power that he now commanded. He was the embodiment of protection, of fury, and of the eternal struggle against those who would destroy the innocent. In this transformation, he had become both the guardian and the weapon, a protector forged by the very forces of the universe. The last traces of his humanity faded, but in its place, a being of unimaginable strength arose, a force that could stand against any who threatened Earth. His mission was no longer just survival, It was to defend Earth at all costs, and the galaxy would come to know the price of challenging him. What once seemed like an insignificant speck in the cosmos had become a world of myth, a place of power and mystery. Earth's name spread through the galaxy, whispered in awe and fear. No longer viewed as a primitive world, it had become a beacon of untapped potential, a legend in the making. Humanity had faced the unimaginable and emerged victorious, not just by brute force, but by calling upon something older, something more powerful than anyone had ever dared to comprehend. Earth had summoned Thanatos, and in doing so, it had reshaped its place in the universe. The galaxy had once dismissed the humans as weak, as primitive, but now, their world was a symbol of raw, untamed power. The ancient forces that shaped the galaxy had never considered Earth a threat. They had underestimated humanity's creativity, its ability to adapt and survive. Now, with Thanatos at their side, the galaxy would never forget the humans, or the world that had become the harbinger of a new era. The final message from the last surviving Jirvath officer sent a chill through the very fabric of the galaxy. As he stumbled across the wreckage of his ship, his eyes wide with terror, his voice broke the silence of space with a warning that would echo through the ages. Do not approach Earth. Do not provoke the humans. Death itself answers their call. His words were sharp, laced with fear and a profound respect. The universe had always been a place where power ruled, where civilizations rose and fell. But Earth had changed everything. The humans had shown the galaxy that even the most ancient forces could not hold dominion over them. They had proven that sometimes it is the smallest spark that can ignite the greatest inferno. His transmission, desperate and filled with dread, reached far across the stars. The galaxy listened, some in disbelief, others in silent acknowledgement. Earth was no longer the underdog. It had become a force of nature, a wild card that no one could predict or control. The Jirvath had learned their lesson too late. Humanity was not a race to be underestimated. And now, with the fleet broken and their plans in ruin, the galaxy would have to come to terms with the fact that Earth was a world not to be trifled with. The age of complacency was over. The humans had arrived, and they were here to stay. Captain Elias Monroe stood alone in the heart of a wasteland, where once there had been a thriving city. Now there was only ruin. The air was thick with the silence of a battlefield that had long since ceased to echo with the sounds of combat. The streets, once full of life, now lay empty, like the remnants of a forgotten dream. The whispers of the Eternals echoed in his mind, ancient voices that felt both foreign and familiar. They beckoned him to embrace the power they had granted him, to expand his dominion, and rule with the strength that now pulsed through his veins. He could feel Thanatos, the essence of death itself, wrapping itself around him like an old twisted friend, its presence both comforting and unnerving. Monroe clenched his fists, staring down at the rubble beneath his boots. He was no longer just a soldier. He was something else entirely, the embodiment of Thanatos, the guardian, the destroyer. But which path would he follow? The weight of his transformation pressed down on him, a burden that seemed to stretch across the stars. The pull of the power was strong, and for the first time, Monroe felt the full extent of its potential. He could reshape entire worlds, bring them to their knees with a thought. But he hesitated. Could he protect humanity with this power, or would he become the very thing he had sworn to destroy? Dr. Evelyn Carter approached him, her footsteps, the only sound breaking the oppressive silence. Her eyes were filled with concern, but there was also a flicker of hope in them. She stopped beside him, her voice steady but laced with emotion. "Monroe, you can't lose yourself in this. In the power, you still have to be human." Monroe turned his head, meeting her gaze. Her words were a plea, a final cry to remind him of the man he used to be, the man she had trusted, the man who had fought beside her, bled beside her. But now, there was only the echo of something greater,
something that demanded to be used. I don't know if I can, Monroe confessed, his voice low. The words hung between them like a confession, an admission of the terrifying truth that lay in his heart. He could feel the Eternals pressing him, their influence seeping into his thoughts, urging him to let go of his humanity and embrace his new purpose. Evelyn placed a hand on his arm, her touch grounding him, reminding him of the past. Don't let it consume you, Elias. We need you to stay with us. You're not a weapon. You're a protector. Remember that. Monroe swallowed hard, his jaw tightening. He knew she was right, but the temptation to give in, to become something more than human, was overwhelming. Yet in her eyes, he saw the reflection of what he had fought for, the future of humanity. He couldn't let go of that, not yet. Far beyond Earth, in the cold expanse of space, an unseen force observed the planet. A cryptic message reverberated through the darkness, its origins unknown, but its intent clear. They have awakened, prepare accordingly. The message was brief, but it carried weight, its implications rippling through the vast reaches of space. The recipient, shrouded in mystery, would hear the warning loud and clear. Earth had changed. It had become something powerful, something to be reckoned with. The universe would feel its presence soon, and when it did, it would never be the same. Monroe stood at the edge of a cliff, looking out at the stars that had always seemed so distant, so unreachable. Now they were closer than ever, and the weight of the universe pressed on him like a crushing wave. He could feel the Eternals' whispers in his mind, their judgment echoing in his thoughts. He understood now. Earth had been seen as weak, insignificant, but not anymore. Earth had the power to judge the galaxy, to make its own place in the universe, and soon the galaxy would be forced to answer to humanity's will. Monroe closed his eyes, accepting the responsibility that came with this power. The scales of the universe had tipped, and there was no going back. He had been transformed, but more importantly, humanity had been transformed. Earth's role in the cosmos had changed forever, and now, it was time for the galaxy to take notice. The last words of the message echoed in his mind, a chilling reminder of the path ahead. Prepare accordingly. The universe was watching, and it was waiting.
They came, but they never understood us. In our silence, there was thunder. In our eyes, war. This story isn't theirs, it's yours. This channel is yours. If you feel it, hit subscribe. Don't walk this path alone.